Like,
we're going live. We're gonna do it.
No,
we're gonna do
I
it. We're
don't
live.
want to play.
We're live, and you can't do anything about it. Hey, internet! It's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Dawnbringers. This is what you get on Thursday nights. Welcome to Dawnbringers Season 5, Episode 33, Winter's Waning. As we are drawing down on the 5th season, this is, of course, our regular D&D campaign happening every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain. Welcome. We got a little bit of a late start due to some tech issues, but we're rolling with them, and we are very excited to have everybody here tonight. Last week saw the return of M as Fig, and Goblin Katie was out for a couple weeks, but is back with us tonight, so we have the whole gang together. Excited to have you with us for the remainder of the season, Goblin Katie.
I am so excited.
So, a couple of super quick announcements since we did get a little bit of a late start. First and foremost, and I will try to remind you all of this at the end of the stream as well. This Saturday, be sure to tune in to, of course, as I say that, the stream glitches out. That gives me time to vamp while I find the exact Twitch channel, because I keep forgetting which Twitch channel it's on. It is on, tune into twitch.tv/Team Squad Up. That is our friend Gary from the Scribes and Scrolls Candlekeep Mysteries game. Gary is, of course, partnered up with Quest for the Cure and Jesse's Journey, raising money for Duchenne muscular dystrophy research. This is the end of a year's worth of fundraisers that he's been doing. There's going to be 3 games back to back on Saturday. I am DMing the first game called Monsters Under the Bed, and we've got an amazing group of players, including our own RQ Stefan from the Twitch moderation, known for, of course, all of the wonderful clips that you find every game. D&D Jordan Lee, Fairbear, Urban Bohemian, Legendary Pants, and Josh Simons will be playing in that game. And we are just over $2,000 away from Gary having raised $30,000 this year for Duchenne muscular dystrophy research. Now, that in itself is an awesome thing, but if we hit that goal before the end of his game at 11 p.m. Eastern, Gary is going to give himself a no-hawk. He is going to shave the middle of his head all the way to the back.
Oh my goodness.
And he's going to keep it for 1 week, which means he will be here on Monday for Scribes and Scrolls as Doc with a no-hawk. Besides all of the wonderful, the fantastic things that raising that money does for Duchenne muscular dystrophy research, that's a side benefit. And Gary always has amazing games where you can donate for player advantage, disadvantage. You can make us do accents, all kinds of fun stuff. So please do tune in for starting at noon with my game, and stay all day for incredible gaming for a wonderful cause. That is twitch.tv/Team Squad Up. Be sure to check out our sponsors down there in the lower left-hand corner. We'll throw the links in there real quick for Talon and Claw at !MTD Claw. Talon and Claw makes incredible wooden dice accessories, dice vaults, DM screens, laser engraved stuffs. Has amazing partnerships with people like 88 Reynolds. 88 Riddles. And others for some incredible, just a wonderful line of products there. And when you go to check out with your purchases, use code MTDClaw and get 10% off of your order. Also be sure to check out Run Right Play. Our friend Keel has an amazing community of collaboration. You can join his Patreon and be a part of that community. And I know that Run Right Play is hosting a community event this weekend with lots of incredible stuff going on. It's basically just promoting all of the different discussions, chill hangs, games, everything that's going to be happening this weekend, including something we have in the works that it's going to be happening right here. And I believe Jeremy, did we settle on the time? I think we settled on...
I think it's 5 Eastern?
Yes, 5 Eastern on Saturday. We're just sort of getting our guests lined up, but we're going to have a discussion, a panel discussion, just covering some basic D&D stuff. I will be hosting that, and we will have Jeremy and some others here. And we've been working behind the scenes to bring this to you, hopefully the first of many. So yeah, tune in here on Saturday for that as well. The last thing that I want to mention, of course, we talk about this all the time, super important. Your mental health, you matter. You might be struggling, you might be questioning that, but just know that you do matter and you don't have to struggle alone. Getting help is so important. It's one of the best things I ever did was, 1, admitting that I needed the help, 2, reaching out and getting help with a counselor, professional therapist, and 3, just being open about it. There's nothing to be ashamed about seeing a counselor, no matter what it is. There's absolutely no reason to be ashamed of it. I'm very open about my struggles with anxiety and depression and how wonderful it has been having a therapist for that. But if you do find yourself struggling, please do not hesitate to type !help in the chat, as Jeremy has just done. That will bring up the URL for findahelpline.com. Check out that website, bookmark it, save it for yourself, and save it for somebody that might need it in the future. It's a very simple website to use. And it's so important to have something like that, so that if you are struggling to even figure out where to start with that website, please. Okay, with that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, I forgot to mention the domain tomes. Nope, domain dice, which I will... you would think I would have just made that uniform across all games, but no. Just gave you a new domain dice for What You Looking At, who I always shout out for their subscription. What You Looking At was our very first subscriber ever, 43 months ago. 43 months in a row. Thank you for that, What You Looking At. Greatly appreciated. That earned a domain dice. Look up above V's head and you can see those there. It's a way that you, the viewer, can influence the game with rerolls, rerolls, making me reroll all the way up to super criticals, which are double max damage. So you can do that by tipping $5, 500 bits cheered, subscribing, resubbing, or using the new Ko-fi link, Ko-fi link, to become a member or tip through there. Those also count towards domain tomes. Dice. It's the Thorgarn Talmud problem all over again.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it shows up in other places too. I just have a weird dyslexia between similar things. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's play some D&D. The Dawnbringers have recently made their way back to Lonelywood after having destroyed the Frostmaiden and their former friend turned rival, Vi the Corrupted. Winter is... the harshest of winter is withdrawing from Icewind Dale over the last few days, as just a few days ago the sun rose for the first time in over 2 years. The townsfolk of Lonelywood, through an incredible I'll fix that in a minute, party celebration, lots of food for the Dawnbringers, and in celebration of the end of the long night. Then the Dawnbringers headed out to investigate the crater where they took down where they took down Arviatris. Cantriel had a vision about that. Where they arrived, they found a frost giant investigating the scene. Drown, with his ability to communicate in giant, talked with this frost giant, and when it found out that they were seeking Arviatris, they had slain Arviatris and were trying to figure out what happened. He left them alone, gave them a rune with the worm rune on it, gave Drown a stone with this carved in it, and left. And that is where we ended the session. Along the way, the Dawnbringers apparently have a crisis of identity amongst them. As I try to sort through everybody. Dawnbringers, what would you like to do? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Rolo stretches, reaches out and stretches and looks over to Cantriel and says, I climb.
Of course. Come here.
And she goes scrambling up Cantriel and curls around her shoulders like a stole.
Are you getting cold again?
A little chilly,
It is.
but it's so pretty.
It's pretty, but there's still things we're going to need to take care of.
Yeah. Where do you think Dragon went?
That is a question of the moment. I'd say day, but with the place here, you never quite know anymore. Ideally, perhaps a whole bunch of little kobolds came along and took the very, very big dragon and took it away in various pieces. However, it doesn't look like that's the case.
I would be surprised. Most kobolds very small.
Exactly. So something has either picked up Arviatris or has helped her pick herself up, with just that little niggling question of, necromancy involved.
That is likely.
Mm-hmm.
Big undead dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing to worry about at all. No.
Oh,
If she was able to be reanimated, if she's under her own control, then certainly she'd return to her lair, which is a place that we need to go anyways, because we suspect that the rest of the ship and the crew might be there.
Right, and that's the biggest concern. We've now sent very
if she's
angry, very
undead, she may
undead,
not be there.
or she might
That's
be there
true.
and she might be mad. And now we have a crew that is left to her devices.
We know that there's at least one thing that we need to take care of there. So with the possibility of there being two things that we could take care of there, maybe that's where we need to head next.
I think that's a given.
That seems wise.
So I get to
Cantriel
go to
looks at
Dragon
Drown.
Lair?
Yes.
Does that excite you?
Yes. I'm kobold. Always wanted to see Dragon Lair.
They're interesting and they vary.
Oh. Do you think it's still a place of power?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Oh.
And she kind of snuggles in and just kind of claps her hands excitedly.
So when do we leave?
Now,
Well,
we
do
head
we
back
want
to town
get,
first?
I was going to say resources first and then head out to the lair.
that is fine.
Considering they were so worried last time we left for a period of time and didn't get back to them, probably best to check in, let everyone know we need to take care of a few more things.
Grab some more tarts on our way out.
Perhaps. Yes, the tarts are very important, of course. Although, didn't you reach your limit already?
I'm sure she's forgotten.
I think it was a daily thing. I just kind of elbow him in the side.
Fig looks to both his simulacrum and Hermes, and then back to Talmud and gives a thumbs up.
When Thorgarn repaired Fig's head, he may have gotten the vocoder volume a little loud. Your mic is blowing out really loud.
Ruler could do with a tidbit more tart.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Ruler could do with a tidbit more tart.
Rolo.
Yes.
Don't you mean tidbit?
No, tidbit.
Yeah, I'm not fixing that. That's too adorable. And Cantriel just kind of like snuggles her close.
Stolen.
So as a reminder, you were a few hours out from Lonely Wood. With the weather being so much better, sled travel was quicker. It's very easy for you to traverse it. So you're only 4 or 5 hours out from Lonely Wood. Is that your plan, is to go back to Lonely Wood, resupply up, and figure out where to go from there? Okay. You traveling back, not a problem. You actually do, traveling on the roads, you encounter a few people running sleds back and forth. It's definitely, people are taking advantage of the improvement in the weather. You can see lots of fresh sled tracks, and see people traveling those roads between those locations. You get back to Lonely Wood. With the time you spent there, it's probably well into the evening by the time you get back to Lonely Wood. Yeah.
We have all the gremlins tonight.
Jeez.
Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. We're good.
I'm really sorry. There's just,
What if you leave them like this? Like leave Talmud under Thorgarn and Thorgarn under Talmud, and you might be good for tonight.
Yeah,
Just
there
saying,
you go.
Dad.
Honestly, I thought I just put them in the right spot. I'm not even kidding. When you said that, if you noticed, I looked over to the side to see where the overlay is. I'm like, wait, they're right. Nope, they are not right.
Thanks, Dad.
What if you leave them like this? Well, yeah, they're right.
But now you'll get the names right.
I was going to
because
say
you'll use
something
the
about her
name for the
throwing
wrong
shade at
face.
you. I was going to say something about her throwing shade at you, and then, well, no.
No, it was accurate. It was 100% accurate.
I'm the one who's very perceptive.
Right? Nothing gets past Cantriel.
That's the truth.
Just
I see smell.
also, just as a reminder, you had mentioned last time there was some discussion about returning to Dugan's Hole to deal with the Chardelin fallout in the waters.
Right.
And there was mention of searching for Mintarok, the were-polar bear that you had encountered. Who... Remind me, because I've completely forgotten, who has the Codicil of White in their possession?
Thorgarn, I think.
I think
Do
it
I?
might be in Fig's hat.
it was
I thought-
that was the book, right? I thought I gave it to you guys. I didn't think I actually had it.
Rolo has it.
Cut to a shot where it's sitting in the snow
because
somewhere.
Rolo was also one of the champions, so Rolo has it, didn't she?
Rolo has it. Why not?
Well, yeah, Rollo and Talmud were the only two that passed,
Yeah.
or Thorgarn.
Oh,
No, I
gonna
was
say,
thinking it was
what?
Talmud. No, it was Thorgarn.
Gonna-
Rollo and Thorgarn
Yeah.
were the only two that passed all of the Frostmaiden's tests.
Yeah, I think Rolo was the one too.
Okay.
Thorgarn was the only one foolish enough to take power.
Rollo, would you spend any additional time looking through the book?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't remember if you were the one that had it and you've been gone for a little while.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that you found within there, of course, were the tenets of the Frostmaiden. You also found that the Rime of the Frostmaiden was in there, which was used at Grimskull to free Victor from the ice. There's also talk that it can be used at the Reghead Glacier. This book appears to have been completed by members of the Frostmaiden's followers, the worshippers of the Frostmaiden. It's sort of a people add in all of these various pieces of knowledge that they know directly from the Frostmaiden or through study and whatnot. And as you are sort of curled up, keeping warm with Cantriel, sort of as you're traveling, you have time to look through and study this book. Because you have basically close to 10 hours of travel time, and you speak Draconic, it's not a problem for you to read a section that you find near the back of the book that seems to outline there's not a lot of specific details, but it mentions that Auriel, the Frostmaiden, made a pact with Arviatris, the ancient white dragon in the region. And it does indicate that, while not a specific location, but indicates that Arviatris's lair is somewhere at the Reghead Glacier. It details some sort of powerful magical deal that was struck between Arviatris and the Frostmaiden. It, again, like I said, it doesn't go into a lot of detail, but the intention is that Arviatris will be able to essentially be a champion for the Frostmaiden. And there's a line at the end of all of this that sort of stands out to you, or a few lines that specifically say that should Arviatris die in the service to Auriel, that the contract will no longer be in place, and that Arviatris can then serve her true master, Ashardalon.
Ha!
Rolo will relay that to the group.
Cantriel screams in profanities.
That's the big one.
That's
with the-
yeah, that's grandpapa. Yes, yes. My great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
that's problematic.
So do we think that
Frustrating.
that might be her mate? Or would there be possibly a third one?
Ashardalon's red.
Yeah, they
The
were
mate
saying
we know
that-
for sure is white?
That was my understanding, but I do not know that for certain.
Yeah, I
That
don't
is-
recall that as a player. So
that is how I remember it as well. That
They spoke of the white
Ashardalon
dragon
is
and her
the
mate. Her white
eventual,
mate.
it was a white dragon that was Avriatrix's mate.
And now we know who it is.
Do you ever feel like you're stuck in a bad family reunion?
No.
No.
Oh,
I do.
I mean,
Well,
to be
let me
honest,
tell you.
isn't it better that it's already linked to the things we have to do as opposed to serving somebody else that we have to go chase after and adding more to our to-do list?
I suppose so.
I will tell you, because you did uncover it at some point, that you did learn that Arviatrix's occasional mate was Arothator,
That's what
who was also a white dragon.
Cool. Thank you.
So maybe they're just a servant then.
Certainly seems to be serving this Ashardalon.
So what we do?
go and we take care of things like we always do.
We kill this white one, and eventually we go after the red one as well. I mean,
now we should make haste to the glacier.
Agreed.
You eventually make it back again, as I said, in the evening. You make it back to Lonelywood, and easily enough. If there's anything you need that's of a as far as rations and provisions, all that stuff, and given that you're going on an important mission, Nimsy Huddle will be. She doesn't even ask. She tells you that she will be making you a bundle of tarts and halfling cookies to take with you, along with an assortment of fresher foods rather than just rations. So you'll have plenty of venison and chicken and of course fish. Lots and lots of fish. There's plenty of food from the feasting that's been taking place, so that provisions won't be a problem. If there's anything that you need or want as far as a mundane nature, the town is happy to provide that for you. If there's anything you want of a special nature, you may have to inquire about that.
so we're going into an ice dragon's lair or a frost dragon's lair, whatever terminology you want to use. So, like, I think we should all have some kind of crampon or pick, something that we can use to be able to hold on, to climb, to stay still. We might have to be prepared to go into cold water to get to the next spot. I mean, dragons' lairs are not exactly friendly, and from by all accounts, this place is not exactly hospitable. So I imagine this is the furthest from hospitable that we're going to see.
We all have crampons already because we got those when we first got into Icewind Dale.
I'm pretty sure you all bought crampons and ice axes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure that everybody has them, because that's what Thorgarn would be thinking about, being, trained in survival and what have you. So
Cantriel's gonna buy Rolo like a child-size coat. But she'll take her dagger and kind of like make slits in the back for the wings.
I'm just picturing a tiny Rolo in one of those puffy winter coats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't move my arms.
The brother
that's
from
up here. I'll help.
Christmas Story.
They're supposed to stay down. Let's bring them together.
Rollo okay like this. Because I have to hold book while I read.
Okay. Just imagining like Cantriel carrying her like little starfish.
Yeah. With a book open in front of it.
Like in front of her.
You could always use your mage hand to hold the book.
This is true.
Good idea.
Turn the pages.
Get you a
Jake,
papoose.
did we have a map of Icewind Dale at all?
Did you the characters? I don't believe you did.
I do not remember.
I know we had one in our
You
hand at some point.
You know what?
But I don't know if he gave
You
it to
do
us or not.
actually. You have Fig had perfect recall. I don't remember if Fig drew it out or if you. I remember something around this because when you were in the fortress, you had a map of Icewind Dale that mapped out where Belak the Malevolent's flight path was. That was specific to 10 towns, but it also was much of Icewind Dale.
There was also a Dragonborn that was in one of the towns that we had talked about going to, and he had a map.
Silver one.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you were in Bryn Shander, you
Those-
met up with the Silver Dragonborn that was drinking with Baron and the dwarves.
Right.
Okay.
Might be.
All right. So we have a good idea of where the Ragged Glacier is. And
Yeah.
It's far as Frigg away from us right now.
Yeah, the Ragged Glacier looks to be probably 50 to 60 miles across open tundra to the east-northeast. I mean, it covers a linear distance of probably another 60 to 80, maybe even 100 miles. So it's a large section. I would bring up the map. We have the lovely, it's mostly 10 towns, but we have the lovely map provided by Devin Rue, but I did not get the overlay set up for that. So I can't bring that up to show you.
Are any of the places that we've already been any closer to that than we
Nope.
are now? No.
No.
the
I
only
believe
thing...
Lonely Wood is the closest that we've been to.
The only thing that would be closer would be the Black Cabin, where you initially nearby, where you sort of
But that's up in the mountains.
appeared in this area. It's in a very hilly area to the east, northeast
Here.
of here.
Yep, here.
Yeah, that's where you're headed.
Yeah.
So that's the
Fig. At some point, when you arrive in Lonely Wood, now as a reminder, one of my dice just stuck to my hand and fell on the floor.
Oh,
And
no!
I think it's a D4.
Well,
That
that's
would
gonna be
make
fun to find
sense.
later.
Yeah, I don't want to because I sit barefoot
okay.
at my desk.
You'll find it.
I just kicked it. I just kicked it away somewhere. I'm definitely going to find that.
You're gonna find that in the
Probably after this game.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been a D12. I might be okay. Whew. Not that I want to step on any dice, but Fig. At some point, what I was saying was as a reminder that Hermes had been sort of filling the role as one of the sled dogs because one of the sled dogs had been wounded. Hermes was more than happy to do that. And so upon arriving back in Lonely Wood, as everybody's off gathering supplies and doing things, at some point, Fig, you hear behind you the familiar tick, 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 tick of Hermes coming up to you. But he doesn't really do anything at first, and then he's sort of standing behind you, and then you feel this sort of tick, 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 tick as he reaches out a hand and taps you on the shoulder, and in that sort of broken imitation of your own voice, Hermes says, "Excuse me, sir."
First off, is my mic better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Yeah, Fig turns and looks to Hermes. That is quite a formal greeting. But I like it.
Wanted to tell you something? Noticed Dawnbringers. Worried about dragon.
Yes, that is an understandable response to something very large and frightening.
Big dragon.
Yes.
Bone dragon.
Yes. Hermes, did you see something?
When I was bringing sled and dogs and you, but not you, back across the snows, saw a big dragon, bone dragon, flying through the sky in new daylight. It was morning. First morning. Flying that way. And he points to almost completely to the east, but slightly northeast.
Is that in the direction of the...
That's where the glacier is.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, hold that up again, V. And point at where you were pointing on the glacier. And point downward a little more. A little more. There you go. Nope, a little up. And that's kind of where the direction from Lonelywood where Hermes is pointing.
Fig pats Hermes on the head. That was very helpful.
Was not sure if you wanted to know of all dragons.
Yes, that is a good rule. Let us know of all dragons.
Yes, sir. Then, with this new directive, should tell you, the little one. I think it's a dragon.
But kind of like goes to say something and then just stops and then like turns his head. Yes. In a way. Thank you.
I will keep an eye on
letting
it.
me know.
Just in case it tries anything.
Not all dragons are bad. That is the next lesson, Hermes. And Fig just walks away. And is going to find the closest Dawnbringer to tell them about just basically confirming that, yes, this is a bone dragon and kind of where it went. I don't know who that would be, but whoever is closest.
So Thorgarn, while we're in town, it's kind of a long shot, but he would be trying to gather any information on the glacier that we're going to. If anyone's been there, if anyone can tell us anything.
I would say, excuse me, I would say, make an investigation check.
Yeah, Thorgarn's amazing at them.
I'm having some, oh, jeez.
What number on this die is going to show up? Hey, it's a 16, so it's a 16.
Excuse me. Most people, as you're just kind of asking around, most people just give an indication that it's basically the eastern border of Icewind Dale. It's a massive glacier that runs for a long ways from the spine of the world up towards the north. Large swaths of it are solid ice. Many believe that it is itself solid ice, a true glacier. Some suggest that it is a glacier that had overtaken a mountain. There are as many, one old timer tells you there are as many tales of strangeness and dark tidings of the Reghed Glacier as there are miles along its edge. Very little is specifically known beyond legends and lore. Supposedly there are tribes of nomadic peoples, including Goliaths, that range the area around the glacier. And there have been some that claim to have seen the Great White Dragon flying in and from that direction.
I thank them, and if they're willing to take coin, I offer some.
They will gladly accept your coin.
Cool.
Victor.
Yes.
Victor.
Yes.
There might be a lead for fighting the rest of the crew.
Immediately, you see Victor, as much as a spherical floating orb can, seems to puff out his chest and sort of float upright a little bit more. Go on.
We're going to go to Aviatris's lair, which is where we're expecting, or hoping, perhaps is a better word, to find the others. Is this something you'd want to? And she's looking at the little ones and kind of like waves her finger to Willie and, or no, not Willie, Lily and Jasmine. Wait. And is this something where you'd want to stay, or you want to come along with us?
The crew of the Evangeline are my responsibility. I would absolutely want to be a part of their rescue if you want me there, but a dragon's lair, you say?
Yes.
The dragon that took us.
Yes.
And he seems to shrink down a little bit. Actually, I'm going to make a check. Victor, you notice as he sort of shrinks back a little bit, suddenly his large central eye and the gazers that are orbiting around, none of them will look at you. They all seem to sort of cast their gaze downward. All of the gazers, all 10 of them floating around, just sort of move into a slightly downward. You can almost imagine that if they were the eye stalks, they would all just sort of be drooping. And Victor looks at you, Cantriel, and says, I have to tell you, that dragon terrifies me.
Well, Victor, as your captain, I have to tell you that I want you to stay here at the town and make sure that the town is protected.
He perks up a little bit at that. That is an order from you.
That is absolutely
Captain.
an order as your captain. You are to stay here, protect the town, make sure they are safe, and we'll get the rest of the crew.
Make me a history check with advantage.
Okay, with advantage. In true Cantriel form, that is going to be a 26.
If
He did not come to play.
Captain Cantriel, if this is your order, please issue it as an order.
Victor,
Now,
as your
before you
captain.
say this, I'm going to tell you what your role got you. Victor started as a spectator and still has elements of being a spectator, which means that if you, as his captain, give him a direct order, he will be bound to guard the town of Lonelywood for 101 years. He will do so proudly, and he will do so as it is the most important charge because you, as his captain, gave it to him. He will not in any way disagree with it or anything like that. You just know this from the time you've known Victor. That's why he was originally tied to the Evangeline in the first place, was as part of a spectator command. You can issue this command to him, and he will take it seriously and will become the bound protector of Lonelywood.
Victor, you've been tied to that ship for quite a while, haven't you?
Just over 100 years, Captain.
Right. Do you like it here?
He kind of looks around, and a couple of the gazers just dart off into a snowbank. One of them, you see one of the local children was sneaking up behind, and it was pretending not to see the child, and suddenly the child grabs it, hugs it, and goes running away with it. And then you see the child. Sure, yeah.
Another one goes like floating by with Rolo clutched on its back, and they're just kind of flying and tumbling together.
Like Rolo trying to balance on a volleyball that's sort of floating through the air, just kind of tilting back and forth. Victor looks at you and says, "I love it here."
Then Victor, as your captain, I order you to stay here in Lonelywood with the townspeople and protect them.
Victor looks you in the eye with his one central eye. Two of his former eye stalks that are now these three-fingered hands snap to attention above his eye. Aye, aye, Captain. And when he says that, there's just this sort of just a ripple that goes through the town, and you know that Victor will do everything in his power to keep the town of Lonelywood to its very borders safe from any and all harm for the next 101 years.
Aww.
Take some inspiration for that.
Okay.
That wasn't an easy decision.
No.
All right. So, do you all plan to take the night then and leave the next day? Is that fair? Get a good night's rest, take off in the morning. I don't think anybody else did. Let me ask it this way. Did anybody else want to seek out any special favors or to talk to anybody before you leave?
Yes. I put it in the chat, but I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, no.
I am putting as I'm putting as many bottles of the special Kiergan that we found in Fig's hat as he will let me.
Clink, clink.
There were 23 bottles of Kiergan minus the one you drank. So 22 bottles of Kiergan on the wall. Take one down, pass it around. 22 bottles of Kiergan in the hat. It would be 22 bottles of Kiergan in Fig's hat. So you would need to add that to your hat inventory.
Thank you, Fig.
Wait, I just saw your list. Gerta, Kiergan, tarts, and boots.
Yep, that's all I need.
Tarts and boots and tarts and boots and tarts and boots.
Tarts and boots and tarts and boots and tarts and boots.
Oh, man. Okay, well, you all then are able to get a well night's rest and begin to head east out of Lonelywood.
So one thing that night, Drown will head over to Cantriel and say, "Are there any others of the crew you would like to try to contact tonight? We had previously assumed that Victor was with them. We were wrong."
Not a bad idea. You feel up to it?
Of course.
What was the cook's name again?
Her name, the one that you picked up in Salt Marsh.
The one who was like tenacious and everything.
Yeah, the little halfling woman.
Yes.
Or was she a gnome?
Yes.
Halfling.
I thought. Yeah.
That's the notebook I lost. I want to say.
And I lost my notebook with that information.
I'm
so
still
we're back.
looking for it, and I can always go back to that episode to find it. It's something like Madam Theo.
Well, Cantriel called him Madam, so.
Her name was like Madam Theola something. I'll find
Thala?
it.
Madam Thala?
That might be it.
I have the ship's surgeon written down, but that's the only crew members.
Yeah,
that I
she
have.
was the one you picked up. She was from the refugees from the.
And they liked each other, so I think that's.
Yeah,
what
she-
Cantriel would look
okay.
onto. Yeah.
All right. So that's who you're going to reach out to in the dream at night.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's to hoping there's no and she'll like look over her shoulder towards where Victor was with the. Hopefully, there's no issues.
That was strange.
It was. I'm still debating what affiliation we have with those little ones.
Oh, you mean whether or not you are their mother?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
It gets weird. Anyways, Madam Thala.
Madam Thala. And so whenever Cantriel's ready, Drown will sit down and take out a little gland of squid ink and a ratty-looking seagull feather and a pinch of sand that's mixed up with like little bits of broken shell and crap, probably just scooped up from the seafloor somewhere. And he will chant for a minute and mix the ink with the sand and sort of trace his tattoos with it using the seagull feather as a quill, and they'll start to glow green and sort of peel off of his body those green glowy shimmery water tentacles, and they'll kind of curl across the floor toward Cantriel and like up and around her forehead and her eyes as she falls into the trance.
As you fall into this trance, Cantriel, you find yourself walking through darkness, surrounded by very closely by the sensation of the furs that you were laying down with. And probably the best way to envision this transition is very much The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You feel these furs. You feel as if you're passing through the furs. They're lifting away. And we sort of see this camera view we're seeing your face as you're emerging, and a little bit of light begins to fall across. We see the pinpoints of light reflected in your eyes, and then it begins to illuminate your face, and these sort of furs begin to fall away, and suddenly there is a bright, warm, luminous light that is completely lighting you up. And we see butterflies begin to fly in from the sides of the frame, and that is where we're going to take our break. It's close enough to break that I want to go ahead and take the break now before we get into this incredible dream sequence and dream message. So, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll take our usual roughly 10-minute break, and we will be back. Hopefully that has enticed you enough that you'll stick around and see what's going on for the second half. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far. Also, looks like I owe you a domain die. I missed that Dimension 1919 rated. So that's another domain die for you all. Thank you for that. We will take our break and see you in just a few minutes. And we're back. All right, Cantriel, you have just stepped through into this dream environment, connecting with Madame Thala, the cook of the Evangeline. You emerged through darkness and fur blankets and things to a bright light and butterflies flying in from all around. And you find yourself walking as the camera pans around to over your shoulder. We find you walking into an extremely vibrant landscape of brilliantly green grasses with wildflowers of every color imaginable and butterflies alighting upon them. A fairy alights on your shoulder and grants you 20 domain dice as our friend of the show, Joey P, Chameleon Fam, has just dropped in to bestow gifts of domain dice upon you. Thank you, dear friend. Let me adjust that for you. Joey P must have sensed a disturbance in the force and that the domain dice were slipping away. There you go. You see all these brilliant colors and these tall trees, and the trees have these leaves of brilliant hues of purples and pinks. You've actually seen this place before, not only in your adventures with the Dawnbringers, but this has elements of a plane that you are very familiar with, the Feywild. This looks like it could be a place right out of the Feywild where you briefly stopped over. And you see in the midst of all of this, as these butterflies, and you see they're not all butterflies as you get closer. You see sprites and fairies. You see fairy dragons of all different colors flying around, and you hear lots of light giggling and laughter that almost sounds like chimes and bells. There's a warm, comfortable breeze blowing through. As you approach one of the trees, all of the leaves take to the air as brilliantly colored birds. And you see there in the midst of this clearing, sitting in the grass, the halfling woman, Madame Thala. She is sitting with her legs crossed. She is wearing a very simple, summery, flowy dress, and there is a humanoid woman. It's hard to tell from here, but a humanoid woman with long hair in shades of pink and purple lying with her head. She's sort of lying on her back, and her head is resting in Madame Thala's lap. Madame Thala is gently stroking her hair, and the woman's hands are lying restfully on her chest, lightly crossed. As you approach, she appears to be asleep. The woman, not Madame Thala. What would you like to do?
I muted to make sure you weren't hearing like all the crickets and stuff. Anyways, well, I guess now it's appropriate. So Cantriel would walk softly and try and like make eye contact with Madame Thala since she's awake.
As you sort of move around, it takes a few moments for her to notice you, and when she does, you see her look up and you see her eyes brighten with recognition. And then you see a look of brief confusion, and you can see the wetness in her eyes. She's very sad. She looks as though she's been crying, and may still be weeping a bit.
Madame Thala.
Is that you, Captain Cantriel?
Yes. The big fellow drowns helping me, well, speak to you right now in your dream.
So this is a dream.
Perhaps.
It's better than the dreams I've been having of late.
What have the dreams been, madam?
Nothing good. We've been here for I don't know how long.
We who? You and the rest of the crew?
Well, yes and no. How long has it been? The last I saw you, you set off for that island touched by the Fae. And then the dragon came and captured the ship and flew us north. It's been weeks or months, years, I don't know.
Have you always been here? And she gestures to the environment.
Not exactly. I've more sensed it. Caught glimpses of it. But it only just came into full view when you showed up. I've been just trying to keep her safe.
Who is she?
Oh, you wouldn't recognize her, would you? Come closer.
She will.
You walk up and you see, as you approach, the woman is probably just shy of 6 feet tall. She has Eldrin features like yourself. Very much spring Eldrin. You can see where she's lying in the grass, just the hint from underneath her of almost wilted gossamer wings. But there's something familiar about her face. Make me an insight roll. I'll let you do so with advantage.
That is going to be a 12.
The face that you see, it takes you a minute to place it because it's so, while in repose, it still has color that you've never seen before. You are used to seeing this face carved out of wood as the figurehead of the Evangeline. Madame Thala looks up at you, seeing that you have a spark of recognition, and says, "Did you know that the ship that you captained, did you know that it was a sentient being?"
No, he left that part out.
Oh, you mean the other captain, Dervish?
Flashy pants, yep. Mm-hmm.
When the ship broke in two, I felt a great rift happen between the planes. And we were taken with the half of the ship up into some frozen mountain. The dragon dragged us through icy caverns and into her lair. Using her freezing breath, embedded the bow of the ship into the walls of the cavern. And as I looked around and saw all the crew, and sad to say, we lost a few when the ship broke apart. But I looked at those of us that were left. She was amongst them. She still had some of her power then. And she used her last bit of powerful magic to save the rest of the crew. She wished them away. And then she bound herself to me. And I've been here, protecting her. And I think she's been protecting me and helping to keep me alive. I don't need to eat or drink much, and that has helped. But I'm still stuck here, in the glacier. But you can see she's been asleep. And after her magic, this is the first I've seen her. After she bound herself to my soul. Cantriel, I think that part of her soul is bound in the Feywild. And I think that's where she sent the crew. Was into the Feywild.
Oh, it really is all about coming home, isn't it? All right. I don't know how long you have been here. Time can be different here. But I'm going to go back to the others, to the rest of the Dawnbringers. And we are going to do our damnedest to get to you here in the Feywild and to help all of you out, those of you left.
I don't know how this works. As she sort of gestures around and sort of between the two of you. I'm going to try to give you something. I don't know if you'll be able to take it with you when you wake. But if you can find me us in the dragon's lair, I can give this to you. For real. We lost Thorgarn to the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's playing peekaboo. I need to bring up in the window so when he tries to reconnect. Ted's like, I've had enough of this.
Right.
Okay. I just want to say, both on screen and in the Zoom window, how, for me, because of your position, how adorable it looks. The two of you just leaned in close like you're taking a selfie, because your two windows in Zoom are right next to each other. That's hilarious. I don't know. All right. I just want to watch for when Ted tries to rejoin so I don't miss him.
Oh my god.
Let me do this while we're waiting on him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
excuse me, this won't fix the the scrambled windows, but
Oh, that's creepy. Oh, not Ted.
all right. Careful when you're playing around with the windows, because when you get back in your proper windows, who knows what positions you'll be in. All right, I'll keep an eye out for Ted while we have this. I'm just going to leave the windows where they are, because I'll have to scramble them again. But Madame Thala reaches her hand up to you and tries to hand you something. And what she hands you is, it's like a piece of paper, but it's a little bit thicker, like almost like a cardstock. And it has a shimmery gold look to it. And I'm trying to find it. I'm not fast enough. What she hands you looks, for all intents and purposes, like a ticket.
A ticket.
To a carnival. I was trying to find the...
This?
Yes! There you go.
Something like this.
Something like that. You had a better prop ready than when I had could bring up quick enough. Yes, it is a very colorful ticket. And she says, when she hands you this, she said that you can use this. And you can come find everyone. And rescue them. And find her. And free her. If her soul remains splintered between the material plane and the Feywild, I'm afraid she'll die.
Then we're going to need to fix that.
She continues to sit there, stroking what you now know to be Evangeline herself, stroking her hair and just sitting there in the warm breeze. Do you stay with her for the duration of the dream, or do you leave early?
Cantriel would stay and she'd actually sit down next to Madame and put a hand onto Evangeline's shoulder, and she would attempt to do one of her songs of rest to see if it would help sort of fortify both of them, quite frankly.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. Unfortunately, it appears that Ted has completely lost internet and will not be able to join us for the rest of this. I will make sure that he is able to catch up on the VOD, fill him in on anything, but we will unfortunately be sans Thorgarn for the rest of this. I saw you watch me stumble over whether I said the right name. I saw as I hesitated, I saw a gleeful look in Goblin Katie's eyes. Oh my gosh, these windows are a nightmare to put in place. Get you two in the right place. Get you two switched. Okay, there we go. That'll do. And then
So
close enough.
Yeah, Cantriel would just she'd just start humming a little bit, and then she would just, before sort of fading out of the dream, she would sing, "We've been rambling all the night, and some time of the day, another journey through the night will bring a garland gay." And she's choked up about it because once again she's realizing, you know, the lives of many are dependent upon the Dawnbringers, and she wants to make sure she brings them back because she had grown close to the crew. So she'll just sort of let the tone fade out and sort of place a, not on top of Madame Thela's head, but sort of like the base of her crown, and just gently rub her thumb and then let herself sort of phase out of the dream so it'd be less jarring.
As you sing this tune, you watch as the words and the musical notes themselves, about 3 feet away from you, seem to take shape and take form as glowing motes of light. And you watch as the various fairy dragons and fairies fly around, and they begin to take hold of these motes of light that are your song become corporeal, and they carry them over to Madame Thela and Evangeline. And as they do so, they release them, and each mote of the song sort of begins to fall down slowly like a gentle rain of music and light that falls across the two of their forms. And you notice as you begin to recede from this dream manifestation that while you were singing, the light sort of shifted into like a twilight, and several wildland animals, Feywild animals, started to emerge and surround them. And slowly you awaken back in your room. I'm assuming you were all at your place, the Ramshackle Inn.
Yeah.
And when you do so, you know you have this not just a feeling, you know it on an arcane level, as if you had a locate object spell in place. You can sense Madame Thela's presence. And you awaken in your room. Since you left early, it's probably the middle of the night.
Found her.
Drown is just sort of sitting cross-legged nearby, and as you come to, you can see that green light of the tentacles sort of retreating back across the floor up to his tattoos, and they all go dark. She is alive then. Good.
Yeah, she sits up and she'll like almost like crawl across like because she can't quite contain herself, and she'll crawl over to Drown and like put a hand on his knee. She's alive. So's the ship.
The ship is alive.
The ship is a creature.
Huh.
I saw the ship, no longer a ship, as a woman. She gave up her powers to help the rest of the crew. They were taken by the dragon. They were taken to the lair, and now they are somehow in the Feywild.
But Madame Thaela is not. And he doesn't say that as a question. That's a statement.
It looked like the Feywild where they are. We need to get to where the lair is for Arviatres and see what is going on.
That was her dream. If Thaela was in the Feywild, my spell could not reach her.
The sooner we get to the lair, the better.
Yes.
Cantriel, you feel in your hand the ghostly remnants of that ticket that she gave you, but when you look, you find that you're holding nothing. Whatever it was she handed you didn't follow you into the physical world.
You did not see the lair.
No, it looked like the forest from home. It was the creatures from home.
Right.
She said that Evangeline cannot exist between the two planes. She's been torn apart.
I could try to teleport us there with the helmet, but it would be very dangerous.
I think first we need to get to the lair.
Yes.
See what we can find. Maybe there might be answers there.
You can
But I saw her.
Madame Thaela's presence, faint and distant, far to the east. You know exactly where she is. On this plane in Icewind Dale. Basically, picture it. You are a living embodiment of Jack Sparrow's compass.
Lovely. Lovely. Even better.
In fact, I misspoke when I said locate object. It's actually more like a find the path spell than it is a.
Yep.
I said locate object, and what I meant was find the path.
Okay.
I wanted to make it clear that you know exactly where in the Reghead Glacier, because of this connection. You know exactly where and how to get to where they are. But you also know that it is about 50, 60 miles across open tundra to get there.
Okay. And it's still the middle of the night, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, because you left the dream early, so it's middle of the night.
Right. We'll tell the others in the morning. We need to head out as soon as possible, though.
It is a long journey. And he just sort of, settles down and stretches out, gets ready to go to sleep.
As the two of you drift into sleep to get your rest before your journey in the morning, we're going to shift to a different scene. I'm going to do a bit of an epilogue scene for this session, as with Ted dropping and given where we are, I think we're going to end a little bit early tonight. But this is third person scene. We see what is about, at this point, probably about 5 days ago. the night of the everlasting Rime is still present. We see at first swirling snow, tinted various hues of green and blue and pink from the aurora in the sky. And we see flashes almost like lightning, a gout of flame, arcane bursts in the clouds as spells are cast. And in the silhouette of these bursts, we see a great flying fortress flying through the air over Icewind Dale. And we see, as from below this angle looking down, and we're slowly moving up toward it, we see a great winged beast, a massive white bird, Oriel's rock, dart in and disappear briefly, blocked out by the underside of the fortress, and then reappear, and something drops from her talons. And the figure of Baron falls from the sky, catches up to where the camera is, and the camera begins to fall with Baron, who is wounded but conscious, as his hair and beard are whipping around, and he's looking up at where he's fallen from, and he's looking down, but surprisingly he looks calm as he begins padding around in his jacket, and he reaches in and pulls something out and throws it into the air. And then he throws another something. He does this a couple of times. And as he's falling, we see first 1, then 2, then 4, then 7 golden canaries flying around him. And they begin grabbing with their tiny claws, they try grabbing at his armor and his clothes, trying to pull against and slow his fall. And you see their little canary wings just... And he just looks up, and he kind of gives this, and he looks at the one canary closest to his shoulder and kind of gives a knowing look. And this canary just gives a disgruntled chirp, and the canary transforms into a gold dragon, gripping Baron in his claws. And Baron is brought gently down to the snow. The dragon lands next to him, and the other 6 canaries begin flying around and alight on his shoulders, a couple of them landing on the gold dragon. And the dragon and Baron look up far into the sky where they can just see the distant flashes of light. Baron looks over at the dragon and says, "This part they're going to have to do on their own. But I think we'll be seeing them soon enough." He holds out his hand, and the dragon turns back into a canary. And as they alight on his hands, he takes each one and tucks them into inner pockets of his clothing. He pulls his jacket up, gets his bearings, and begins trudging through the snow. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he say that when he was away, that it was in the Feywild that he had spent so much time?
He spent 8 years in the Feywild.
Perfect.
Nice.
Very, very cool.
This is
This is a good session.
This is not the first reference to the man with the golden canaries that you have seen either. All I will say as a memory jogger is, remember, before you went in to face Gulthias, all of you had shared memories. and you saw that the Lady Vantage had been manipulating all of your destinies, I'll let you talk amongst yourselves and piece those together. No, I was waiting for a good place to have that sort of third person scene, and tonight's session just kind of worked it out that was exactly the perfect place. Because looking at the decision you made, this was one of those decisions, just a peek behind the curtain. I had no idea what you all were planning to do. You had like 2 or 3 things you were talking about doing, and I knew what, we had to kind of figure out what was going on. Plus with Ted, like I said, with Ted dropping, we want to make sure that everybody's here that can be here as we proceed. But it looks like the Dawnbringers know exactly where they're heading, to the Ragged Glacier. They know approximately who they're going to face, and they know what they're going to have to do next. And with that, I can say that we are probably approximately 5 sessions or less from the end of the season. It's hard to say with certain decisions and things you might choose to do, but I would dare say that we're within 5 or less sessions of finishing this. Now there is a possibility that we will be either down a player or off next week. It's going to depend. I think, V, if you have to, right now it's tentative, right?
No, it's confirmed.
Oh, it's confirmed?
Confirmed for next week's confirmed.
I think next week will be fine, if you're okay with it, that we'll play without you being here. But obviously we're coming up on a couple sessions where we'll want everybody here, so we'll schedule accordingly. Yeah, this was a fun session. I've been sitting on some things for quite a while. And I'm so excited that you're starting to see some of the reveals on that stuff. And I gotta say that the decision to assign Victor to guard Lonelywood kind of touched me a little more than I thought, because I created the Evangeline when I first started playing 5e. I created the lore. It's appeared in many of my games. We use it for the charity events that we run on Talon and Claw, for their fundraisers and other places in my home games. And I created Victor as the first mate of this ship, who had been assigned to guard this ship for 101 years when the players encounter it. And so he's there, he's a part of it, incorporate all that lore. So Victor and the Evangeline have been a part of my D&D experience since I've pretty much started playing again, with the tail end of 4th edition and the beginning of 5th edition. So he's a very important NPC, and it's a very important magical item / ship / person to me. So I absolutely love the way the Dawnbringers have been interacting with all of these things, and choosing that to do that and give Victor that mission was such an awesome thing for me personally. So I mean, it would have been just as cool if you had chosen to have him come along with you, but this felt somehow more in line with the spirit of who Victor is, especially now in his current form. So thank you, V, for that, and thank you to all of you. Shout outs, of course, to our always amazing chat. It's just awesome to see everybody chatting in there. Thanks for everybody who stopped by. Dimension 119 for the raid. I'm going to shout what you're looking out again. What you're looking at out again one more time, as our first ever subscriber resubbing, our good friend and patron of the domain dice, Joey P, showing up with the boon of domain dice. For those that don't know, domain dice are basically Joey's fault. And Joey is the one that came up with the supercritical that we call the Patron's Blessing. I asked him, hey, what do you want 5 dice to be? And so that was his idea. So thank you for that. I want to plug one more time. This Saturday, tune in to twitch.tv/Team Squad Up. For starting at noon Eastern, I will be running Monsters Under the Bed for a great group of people, benefiting Quest for the Cure and Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy Research. Those games will be going on all day. We're also going to have a RPG, TTRPG panel discussion happening Saturday evening right here on twitch.tv/miniterrain I want to make sure I remember to shout you out if you are one of the lurkers that watch quietly from the shadows and don't participate in chat. Thank you. We appreciate you just as much and hope you enjoy watching our games. And of course, I have to say a absolutely huge thank you to my absolutely awesome players. Somewhere in here, I think we already passed the 3-year anniversary of the Dawnbringers, or we're right around it. We've been playing this game together for 3 years, and this has just been awesome. So a huge thank you, as always, to V, Dan, M, though he's not here, Ted, Jeremy, and Goblin Katie, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for a couple of hours. With that, we are going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Tidbit.